What's good with it, bro? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right, brother. How everything with you?
Cool, dog. Cool. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta stay away from social media. Social media. I wake up in the morning, bro, and like, you go through your routine. You get yourself situated. You're like, you know what? Let me see what the universe looking like. Let me see what's going out there in
Right.
politics. And I don't get my news from like the news. I get my news from Twitter. I get
Yeah, that's
my
most
news
people
from X,
now. Yeah.
right? So in the midst of that, obviously, I get a lot of the Pels. The Pels rundowns. Man, the 11-9 in the last 20 is was triggering me this morning.
Wait, hold on. First of all, shout out to Dan. Look, we're a little earlier than usual. We waiting on a couple people again. Shout out to the homie Dan in the building, man. So, what was triggering you about that particular stat, or was it more so the narrative surrounding that stat, like
It's
the
always
intent?
the narrative surrounding the stat. It's like I feel like there's no real context when like because and listen, I gotta argue with like my homeboys in the chat, like my partner Mike that I do that he do my shows, he do the Pels and the Blender sometimes. So
Right.
I go to them when I'm like, bro, you see what's going on? You see the narrative being put out? They was like, but it's true. I'm like, it's not about if it's true. I'm like, hello, you can hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I can. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? That L must have cut out. I think I think if I had to guess, uh, what Elvin is saying is more so like I think people are assigning credit without taking into context that the Pelicans are playing actively tanking teams right now. Teams that are intentionally tanking, teams that really don't have any, intentions on trying to be competitive in the short term. They're really just angling for the best draft pick possible, i.e., what you saw happen with Trey Young yesterday, who was playing very well before they sat him for the rest of the half.
Yo,
Yo, I can hear you, Al. You good?
my my bad, dog. Yeah, I was
Okay.
outside, kids cutting up. I had to make a little quick move.
Oh, good.
Um, but bro, like the context behind the 11-9, it's like okay, so throughout the season, right? We got 21 wins on the season. Bro, I was looking, we have four, in my opinion, four good wins out the whole season. You beat the Spurs, that's a good win. Minnesota, that's a good win. The Rockets game, that was a good win. And I don't even really count it, but if you want to count the Sixers game as a good win, that's a good win.
The
Okay.
second out, the other one on the second out of back to back.
Without Embiid, yeah, that one.
Okay, okay.
But without Embiid, okay, yeah, whatever, that one. So you got four out of the 21 wins are good wins. Other than that, are teams either below 500, actively tanking, or without good players. So like, and I don't want to be like, I want the team to continue to improve and look better and stuff. But when I see the team is 11-9 in their last 20, and it's like, well, yeah, you you gotta be when you at this point in the state at this point in the season, teams are actively trying to lose. You still, because of the draft situation, you have to play to win, right? And you playing most of your key guys. Like you playing most of your key guys. Like y'all better be winning these games. And it's not that I don't want them to win, but it's just like the narrative around it. And it's like, man, we went on a 4 game win streak, and it's like, well, yeah, you beat the Sixers without Embiid, you beat the Warriors without Steph or Jimmy, no Kaminga, even though Kaminga wasn't even playing, but like you beat the Warriors without nobody, and then you beat who else was part of that win streak? Like
Maybe
was
the
it
Jazz
the
a
two
couple times,
Jazz
right?
games? The first time you get some competition, right, against the Clippers, it's like, all right, you actually might have a shot at the play in which we said they have no shot, but you might have a shot. 20-point game, you can't do nothing about Kawhi. You get what I'm saying?
The
And then
the
you
cra- the crazy part. I'm sorry to cut you off. The
you
crazy part
good,
about the first Jazz game and the Golden State game is those were competitive games.
bro.
Like,
You in a fight, you in a dog fight in the Golden State game.
right, you ain't beat the piss out of them dudes, and you was again you're relatively healthy. You know what I'm saying? So, well, not even relatively. You are healthy. You're healthy as could be at this point,
You
and
healthy
those
enough
teams,
consistently to
right?
you need to be beating bad teams.
Right. And let me ask you this: what do you think the intention is behind said narrative? Do you think people genuinely believe these things? You think people trying to view things glass half full, or do you think it's something else? Like, what's your honest opinion on the narrative?
So I'm torn because in one sense, this the part about the narrative that bothers me because when people put it out there, and it's like, yeah, they playing better, but nobody puts out the narrative like the level of competition, nothing like that. So it's not like anybody saying, hey, they still suck. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, this is the bones of a good team. And it's just kind of like, wait a minute, no, we got 21 wins. If my biggest issue, and I'm gonna get to what I think is about, but my biggest issue with the narrative is it's like, bro, if we don't like properly talk about this team and where they at, we gonna be looking at a similar situation next year, you know what I mean? And like you won't have the necessary changes because let's say they do okay ish the rest of the way, and you got a lot of good teams you getting ready to play. A lot of teams playing for playoff spots and stuff like that. So you might be able to get into a little bit of a run. But like looking the rest of the way, bro, you might not get more than 5 wins. You might not get more than 5 wins the rest of the way based on who that. And then the narrative right now is like, well, there was a stretch of 20 games where they were 11-9, and then there was one point in the season where they won five in a row, and then there was another point in the season where they won four. They were 4-1, and it's like if those are the narratives that we push, I hope Joe and Troy don't use those increments to not make significant change, and then say, well, everything is fine. This is like potentially a competitive team. So like I think the narrative is one, obviously I think it's to like Borrego to like people to put Borrego in a place to say, hey, look, um, the offense is looking better, the defense is looking better. Look at this stretch when they got everybody healthy. They were 11-9, or when DeJounte came back. Like I saw the one today, it's like when DeJounte came back, they like 6-3. And it's like, dog, I'm sorry. Go, but you get the point that I'm trying to make.
No,
It is just
I,
like, dog, stop giving me the flawed narrative. Like if DeJounte can't do nothing about the level of competition that they play when they come play, and the goal is to win the games
right.
against whoever you play. Like I get that. Also, these teams like the Wizards are actively trying to lose. Like the
Yeah, they sat
Jazz,
trade damn near the entire second half.
yes,
Damn.
the Jazz, like, bro, if Laurie Markkinen and Jaron Jackson, like, if them dudes like play, we ain't beating that fucking team. So it's just kind of
I
like
think Keontae didn't even play in the first game. In
he
the first,
didn't.
it's funny. It's funny. Keontae, Laurie, and Jaron sat out the first game. I'm probably missing someone also, and that was the most competitive game out of the two. Like it's to me. I would just like a bit of consistency. Now, look, as new information pours in, you have to be willing to change your perspective, right? But the thing is, like, nothing new has happened. It's. I'll give you several examples. On one hand, people will say, "Oh, the Jordan Poole trade was terrible," right? Now, mind you, Jordan Poole's contract situation is the same thing as CJ's contract situation this past offseason. He's expiring. But people in the same breath will say, Sadiq Bey's been incredible. He's an incredible find. And it's like, bruh, Sadiq Bey is a part of the Jordan Poole trade.
I absolutely, bro. I'm not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I had this conversation not long ago, and it was like, I was like, so how do you, if you're gonna say that Jordan Poole was a bomb in the trade, okay, even if you're gonna, okay, let's say that was a bomb. Sadiq Bey has been better than Herb and Jordan Poole. So regardless of like, and then the argument was, well, you could have got Sadiq Bey for nothing anyway. And it's like, well, who says that? We
Now,
don't know that.
now that's the part I really wanted to address as well, right? And this is where I think I don't want to say it's dishonesty, but this is why I think failure to have like the proper context as you said before. Now, people presuming that you could have gotten Sadiq Bey for next to nothing. People not taking into account Troy Weaver drafted Sadiq Bey. Troy Weaver targeted Sadiq Bey. He drafted him in the lottery. I'm sure he was a part of bringing him to Washington because Troy Weaver was in Washington at the same time Sadiq Bey was. This Sadiq Bey was a target. He wasn't a throw-in. You didn't just happen to get Sadiq Bey and the shit all worked out. No, they targeted Sadiq Bey. They wanted Sadiq Bey on this team.
Like,
This
who
is
the fuck
so
asked for
Troy.
Sadiq Bey? Respectfully, like, ain't nobody just been like, oh yeah, let me go get Sadiq Bey.
I think people kind of viewing it like like Sadiq Bey was some undrafted free agent. It's like, no, Sadiq Bey played very well in Atlanta prior to his injury versus the Pelicans, and he was due for a big contract. Troy Weaver, this is a Troy Weaver guy. Like he literally drafted him. He probably knows more about Sadiq Bey than anybody. So I think that's very dishonest framing, in my opinion. At best, it's ignorance. At worst, it's dishonest framing. I think there's several instances where it's like, for example, if they win a couple of games, right? People will say, "Oh, now I understand why they want to keep this team together. I understand why they don't want to trade any of these guys." But when they lose, it's like, "Oh, it's year 7. You got to blow this up." And also, it's not the entire team playing better, even though the competition has like softened quite a bit, considering you playing tanking teams. There's some guys on the team in the starting unit in particular who's still playing like dog shit. Like I just don't like the picking and choosing personally.
That
If Jordan Poole have a bad game, Jordan Poole game gonna be up and down. His name gonna be up and down the timeline. If other players on the team have a bad game, all of a sudden it's everybody's fault. It's everybody's fault. I didn't really watch the game, or it's on to the next one. It's like no, 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 no. We ain't doing that. Let's call everybody out. Like let's hold everybody accountable. So
I,
I don't like that personally.
I'm with you. The thing to today, like I said, that was, bro, was just triggering for me is like when people throw out what, because you can make stats say whatever you want them to say, right? So you could throw out stats and they look at, and stats are facts, right? Like a stat can be a fact depending on whatever stat you
Yeah,
decide to
it, it
use.
it represents a moment in time.
Exactly.
It's like a screenshot of a moment in time.
Here's a perfect example. You posted maybe a couple days ago, maybe a week ago now when Jordan Poole was still playing, that Jordan over like what was it, the three since the break, the 4 game stretch, he was averaging 17 and 4 and shooting almost 40% from three. That sounds like a guy, and you won most of the games that he was playing in. Also, like if winning matters, he was putting up relatively decent numbers, and you were winning those games. That don't sound like a guy that needs to be relegated to D and P's, but that's kind of the situation that they were in. If I told you that they had a guard in a stretch that started averaging 17 and 4, shooting 40% from a three for a team that don't have no shooting, you would be like, why is that guy not playing? So like that's what I mean by like distorting the numbers and stuff like that. Here's another example. They win one more game, right? They win one more game and they'll have 22 wins, which is more wins than last season. So technically by the wins, this is a better year than last year, right? But there's no way that anybody would say that completely healthy, this team being as bad as it is better than last season, in my opinion. Or at least that's how I'm framing it. Because there's no way you telling me you get Zion for 30 something straight games and Trey for all of these games, hurt for all of these games. You only win, you know, again, you're not gonna probably touch 30 wins. And you say this is a better season than the 21 win season where nobody was hurt and you still managed somehow to get the 21 wins. Like it's it's just the distorting of the numbers and the facts that like you could use stuff to frame it however you want, and it's just the way that people are throwing it out right now. It's just like, bro, let's get both sides of the context. Like when we putting out the stats and the numbers and all of that.
I think there's a certain level of bias that goes into how this team is being being covered. Like I'll say across the board because again, this new administration. They don't really have an open door policy necessarily. So you have some people, they may not necessarily have the information, or maybe they do have the information and they may be trying to ingratiate themselves, into the front office. But I just think a lot of stuff is painfully obvious. Like, I hate to bring this person up again because he don't play for the Pelicans no more, but Jose Alvarado. This Google Jose Alvarado's name right now and check his stats for the last 10 games, right? And you had people on here like, oh my God, we just let him walk out the door for nothing. And it's like, no, you let him walk for what he was probably worth. That's probably
Yeah, I
about
saw
what you
Jose
was
like
on.
the last couple games have been getting like 7 minutes, 10 minutes, or something like that. Like
Yeah,
Jose is
it's
a good spot
replace.
player. Like,
Yeah, he's a replacement level guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And,
hmm
and and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a role for those type of players in the league. Shit, Chris Dunn was out of the NBA. Now Chris Dunn was also a lottery guy, but he was out of the NBA, left, came back, and became serviceable. Same thing with Dante Exum. You see this happen, quite a bit with some guys, right? But I'm saying that from the standpoint of, okay, if we're comparing Jose's impact on winning with the Knicks, and he barely plays, but you'll give him all the credit for helping lead the Knicks to victories, like, judging by his stat line, it can't be a significant impact. You got players on the team right now that you're actively not playing with a far better stat line, and you got guys that's actively playing with horrible stat lines, i.e., and we're going to get into the starting lineup, which I really wanted to address, i.e., Brother Herb. Again, 4 points, 4 fouls. This is, again,
you
there's
could
been other
transition to
games.
that right now, actually, and we could just kind of go over the game.
Yeah, like, all right, so going over the game, right? Again, second game in a row where the Pelicans didn't start a center. I thought the last time we saw Eve Misi play, I thought he played well. I thought Carlo played well the last time we saw him play. Then versus Suns, Carlo doesn't really get any minutes. Eve Misi gets sporadic minutes. And I did think Herb had a good game versus Suns personally. Then you go into the games versus the Wizards. You go with the no center lineup, right? It was just disastrous. Starting unit was disastrous. Communication wise, no one knew where to be defensively. Offensively, everybody was just doing what they usually do. And you didn't. And DeAndre Jordan, for some strange reason, is the first big off the bench. Didn't make no fucking sense to me, right? Eve Misi, who to me changed the entire game. I don't think you win this game without playing Eve Misi, and that's saying a lot. No disrespect to Eve, I think that's saying quite a bit. Eve Misi didn't get his first minutes of the game until the second quarter, right? And if Herb didn't pick up his first foul, I'm sorry, his fourth foul, you probably lose this game. If Herb don't pick up that fourth foul and ended up getting taken out of the game for the remainder of the game, you probably lose this game. Just being real, it's just I don't understand what the point of this exercise is personally. Like,
E-
what do you take away from the last game?
So, so again, we talked about the rotation, so I don't want to keep like harping on the same thing with the rotations and stuff. But the part that kind of kills me is that like throughout certain points of the season, you see this team not only needs at least a center, damn near need two centers for them to be successful. You damn near need two bigs on the court. But since the All-Star break, you need at least one. You need at least one on the floor damn near at all times. And so like you had the stretch where they just, man, like after the Bucks game, he's like, fuck it, we gonna play DeAndre Jordan. And you looked competent, and it just showed the value of having a center. It showed the value of having a center. You went 3-1 in that stretch with DeAndre Jordan starting a plan or whatever. And then all of a sudden, he didn't play. Like he's even if regardless of whatever, if you gonna go with Eves or whoever, but DeAndre Jordan didn't play, but you also didn't start a center. Like you didn't start a center of any kind. And then he went from starting to not playing. And
Look,
then it
I'm
was
sorry. I'm
go
I'm
ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. This is the part that drove me fucking crazy, right? I've seen no name centers give the Pelicans the fucking blues, right? I'm and I'm not a big DeAndre Ayton fan, but who the fuck you think Alex Sarr and DeAndre Ayton is to where you could just start Zion at the five? And who do you think Zion is?
Herb
Charles
Jones.
Bart?
Another part, not to like kind of piggyback off of that. I I firmly believe that a lot of Z's injuries over the years is them playing him like small ball five, like way too much. Like that's not like his the amount of like the physicality to play the five on this level. Like Eve struggled playing the five. Shit, Carlos struggled playing the five when they playing against legitimate centers. Like that's why DeAndre Jordan looked like so competent to the
Yeah,
point
look,
where
at least strength wise, it looks
yeah,
formidable.
it, at least just from a physical standpoint. So every game you decide to not start a five, I I think of it as you're starting at a physical disadvantage, like just out the gate. Like you automatically assuming, okay, we about to get out rebounded. More than likely they're gonna own the paint, and you don't have enough shooting and spacing to really punish teams for playing that way anyway. It's not like when Golden State would put, KD at the five, and you got Steph, Clay, Iggy, KD, and Draymond. You know what I mean? That's a completely different type of five-man lineup. We don't have nothing like that. So when you
And
come out there with fucking, I'm sorry, with
no,
Herb
yeah.
DeJounte and them, it's kind of like, dog, who first off, who gonna stop Luca from going to the paint? Who gonna deter anybody from the paint? Where's our rim protection, your rebounding, and anything like that? And also, if they decide to throw it to the big, what are you gonna do?
It's I agree with you totally. I think the example you used with Kevin Durant and Golden State was a great example because people forget Kevin Durant was playing some of the best defense of his career. He was an incredible defender in Golden State, like for real, for real. But I think also when you take into account, it's like, look, you're not very strong physically. You're giving up dribble penetration. The Pelicans' best brand of defense is getting into the passing lane, causing deflections. But you're also a really bad transition team, right? On both sides of the ball. You're not great in taking advantage of transitional opportunities. Also, Sadiq Bey is slow. DeJounte is slow. Herb is slow. So it ain't like you like we just gonna run these motherfuckers off the court. We gonna play five out. We don't need no center. We just gonna run them off the floor like fucking Hank Gathers or somebody. It's like no, that's y'all not an explosive offensive team. That's like the offense is sluggish as well. It ain't like you scoring 140 points and you beating teams 140 to 120. No, like what you're doing is not it's not sustainable. Like you don't even look that good offensively, and that's the thing that kind of throws me off. Is like, well, if you do want to at least get into transition, don't you need to worry about securing the rebound first? Like you gonna let, like I mean, what's the dude? Was it Malawak? Malawak wasn't even playing, and Malawak was getting second chance opportunities. DeAndre Ayton had a terrible game, and DeAndre Ayton still had 10 and 8, and he was terrible. Like he wasn't even good. He could have scored like 20 points the other night. I just don't understand what they're doing. Well, I do understand. I'm gonna stop saying that. I do understand what they're doing with this lineup. They just don't have courage to bench Herb. They just don't have the courage to do it, or they don't have the relationships to justify doing It's no way that Herb should still be starting, bro. And that's really what it boils down to.
Well, yeah, I agree, and I just again, I hate to always be negative because bruh, I really like I'm a fan of the team, so I don't want to always come in and be negative. The only issue I have is that I feel like the when people are being positive about the team, it's like let's just be positive with some context as well. And then like just admit that part of it. Cause like them being 11-9 in this stretch. And again, this is to IC's point. Shout out to you for being in the building again today. But like it's drilled into my head now because I could again we spoke to it a second ago, but you could really see it happening to where if they have a decent stretch, right? A decent stretch that you can confuse yourself into saying. Like for example, I personally believe that you need to go get an impact player. And like, if you're not gonna tear it down, okay, cool. But if you're not gonna do that, you need to go get an impact player. If like you talk yourself out of an impact player and say, man, maybe we could just make some moves around the edges. We were looking more competitive. You remember that time we went 11-9 in 20 games? Also, if you 11-9 and you like spread that out over the season, let's just say they were good enough to play at the 11-9 pace for the whole season. You still only a playing team at best. So like, what are you trying to do? That's still not good enough to be good. Like, you're still only good enough to be average. So like, I just want them to take the approach of like what we're doing, even if you're showing some kind of progress, it is not good enough. And you need to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to like take the big view. Like, bro, you only got 21 wins. Like 21 wins. I don't care how the fuck you look at it and say, oh well, we look good. Because somebody, my partner brought up Charlotte. Charlotte was horrible. It's like, bro, Charlotte, we ain't never won 8 out of 9. We ain't never won 9 out of 10, 7 in a row. You know what I mean? Go on one of those kinds of streaks. Be like, man, you saw the Pelicans won 13 out of 14, and it's like, well, you saw who they played. They beat the Rockets. They beat the Lakers. They beat. Then you might be able to maybe make some kind of an argument.
I
But
think also. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you good. You good. Go ahead.
I think also, and you got to take into account Charles Lee is a really good coach in Charlotte, in my opinion. I think Charles Lee is a really good coach. But and also, I think, in my honest opinion, I don't think the front office is viewing it like, oh, see, I want everything gonna work out now. 'Cause I think, and I did a show about this earlier as it pertains to Dejounte. I DeJounte want to go. DeJounte, the only reason DeJounte back is because DeJounte trying to get the fuck up out of here. DeJounte couldn't get traded at the deadline because no one has seen him play, and he trying to go. So I think at worst he probably starts the season with the team next year. I don't think he's long for the world with the Pelicans. I'm just being honest with you, just based on things I've been told behind the scenes, and I ain't been lied. Well, I ain't. They ain't been wrong yet. I'll say that they haven't been wrong yet, and I don't think I've been lied to yet.
L- let
Also,
me
go ahead.
let me say this about Dejounte real quick. I respect Dejounte hustle. Like, at the end of the day, if I'm Dejounte Murray, bro, I'm trying to protect my career. I'm not gonna come in and say I don't want to be here. You come in and you do what it is that he's trying to do. Like, look, man, I'm gonna be a leader. We gonna play hard. I'm gonna do everything I gotta do to win these games. If that's what you want to do, and you play the rest of the season or whatever amount of like, bro, he probably worked really hard to be able to return. I ain't got time to come out here bullshitting with these dudes and what they got going on. Like, your career on the line, and especially if you trying to get somewhere else, get your value up and stuff. So like, shout out to Dejounte, because regardless of like, I don't believe everything that he's saying, but you should be credited for saying the right, like, you should be credited for saying the right thing, at least. You know what I mean? Like, he's saying all the right things, at least what you want him to say, if you won't go into the off season and you be moved.
For me, I'm just indifferent with Dejounte at this point. I think once a motherfucker lied too many times, I'm just like, look, this is business at the end of the day. Do what you got to do so we can just separate. Like, you know what I'm saying? This relationship has to be dissolved, and we both got the same goal. Let's put our minds together, and we're gonna make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And so I respect him for that. Um, I think you can say that about a few guys on the roster. So where it's like, man, it's probably in both of our best interests to go our separate ways. I think, from what I was told, too, I don't know. I don't know how married the front office is to her. Um, and this is why reading comprehension is really at an all-time low. It's sad because they used to say no child left behind. There's a lot of motherfuckers. They should have left some people behind because we shouldn't all have the same power. But anyway, so like Herb Jones was not made untouchable. I don't think none of the Pelicans were quote unquote untouchable, right? I think they just didn't get great offers for him. And based on some of the trades you saw happen, during the season, Zubac probably had the best trade package out of everybody, right? And even that, pick is a little weird. Like you know what I'm saying? Whether it fall like whether pick falls, the protections on the pick is a little bizarre. So it's like this was to me was more of a buyer's market. I think if there is an opportunity to improve, dramatically in the off season, I think they will. Or if there is an opportunity to pick up another distressed asset, they will. At this point, there's no debating. Herb contract is a negative, a negative asset at this point because he putting up some Dorian Finney-Smith numbers, and ain't nobody gonna tell you Dorian Finney-Smith has a positive contract, right? So I think along with him, of course, you still got to address your center position. You're paying Kevon Looney $8 million to pretty much sit the dress fly and shit on on Instagram and Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Kevon Looney put on his best outfits. He know he ain't going nowhere. Like he know he ain't playing. Uh, you got motherfucking Jordan Poole looking emo on the bench. It's just like, look, man, they know they need to make some like what the Saints is doing right now. They know they need to make a couple wholesale changes. They need if you really want to stimulate the organization. I made this point earlier about the Pistons on the show, and I made this point about Charlotte as well. When things started changing and shifting with Detroit, is when they got an incredible head coach and they made a couple big changes. Like Killian Hayes, get out of here. You gotta go. Whatever. I don't care where we drafted you. It was a mistake. You're out of here. Jalen Duren, we invested in you. We gonna make this work with you, brother. Or you're gonna sink or swim. And so far, he's swimming. Same thing with Lamelo. Lamelo stayed healthy. He started balling. Miles Bridges been consistently healthy. He's balling. He's contributing. They hit a home run on Conker Nipple in the short term. You know what I'm saying? Charles Lee has been excellent. You know what I'm saying? Like they've done their part, and the players have met them halfway. With the Pelicans, it's like nobody meeting nobody halfway right now. You can argue some of the players are, doing their job like, well, I'm available. I'm on the court. I'm playing my best. I need some things that around me to be better utilized.
These motherfuckers need consistency. That's what and bruh, I my biggest thing, and it's the problem that I have with any like you see Jeremiah Fields playing a little bit better right now, right? I would say he's playing significantly better.
I checked. He's shooting. I think 30. Is it 34% on the season from beyond the arc? It's either like
Some
32 or
it,
34. I'm shocked on 4 attempts.
bruh,
I'm shocked.
his 3 point percentages have been okay. His finishing at the rim since he's gone to the bench has been better. Like he just looks like he's playing better, right? But what that is he's finally in a consistent role where he can like maximize and flourish. You got an idea what your minutes gonna look like, what your competition gonna look like, what lineups you're gonna be out there with, as opposed to the volatility of just okay, one game we gonna play a center, the next game we not gonna play a center. One game we gonna have Sadiq, and then the next game we not. One game we gonna have like you gotta think about this. Sadiq Bey just really became a staple in like the start lineup. Like he's been starting, like he's got some games under his belt. Don't get me wrong, but like if you remember, Sadiq Bey since the beginning of the season had been playing consistently better than Herb, right? And they just over what, like maybe right before the All-Star break and stuff like that, when Herb got hurt, it was to the point it was like, all right, well shit, we can't put Sadiq back on the bench. So it just so happened to work out that people were constantly hurt throughout the season and stuff. Like Trey had stretches where he was out, but it wasn't even confirmed like the minutes Sadiq Bey was getting, and he was one of your better players consistently. So to me, I'm just like, bruh, pick pick a lane. It's shit. We can't pick. They talk about the are you going old or are you going young? You need to pick a lane with that. But shit, we can't pick a lane with the rotations. Are we playing bigs? Are we not playing bigs? Carlo playing one game, not playing the next game. It's like, well, you want them to generate threes, but you're not putting the same people on the court to know where the shots even coming from. Like,
Shit, Looney gonna be playing point guard Wednesday night.
man, shout out to you, Mo. That's good,
What's
bro.
up? What's up with y'all, fellas?
Man, I'm cooling, bro. I hate to be on here bitching and complaining, especially when you know what I mean. They get a win. Any win is a good win, but it's just Like when you see the lineup, and I'm just like, bro, what are we doing? Even if you win the game, I don't care. And then if you watching them the first half of the game and stuff like that, it's like, bro, you getting thoroughly outplayed by the Wizards. Like the Wizards just can
I
get
want to
to
ask
their
y'all something.
offense
When y'all
easier.
watch the
Go ahead.
game, even when the Pelicans like 2 years ago, when they had their best season in a while, it's something about that starting lineup. It seemed like something missing, bro. Like even like if they start a big and I like they don't have that energy. Like dog, it's like the bench have to save them every game, bro. Like the last few games, like this been for a few years now, man. Like the last 3 or 4 years, that starting lineup, bro. Like I don't want to say the I don't know if it's we know who it is him. Like bro, that starting lineup just not it, man. Like they come out
No,
every game, bro. That first quarter they scoring like 13, 15 points, and like I've been like I was like, all right. Like, let me just sit back. I was like, let me see if this is one game. Like, it happens every game. They come out in the first quarter, they flat.
I
Chance, let me address this and then I'll let you go. I'm sorry.
no go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Um, my I think coming into most games, you already at coaching disadvantages. So like just starting out any game, you gotta imagine that they already got a better game plan than you got. That's like I just personally believe
Oh,
that. That's first.
absolutely.
And then secondly, I believe most people's rosters, even if you're gonna say we got a good, you know, starting lineup or whatever, that was like you still had to have had like BI and CJ and stuff for it to be considered good. But like for the most part, like you're not as talented as most teams. And that's just what it boils down to. So you at a coaching disadvantage and just talent wise, you're not better than most people.
Hey, I agree. And look, and that's why I always say, bro, football, basketball, like sports in general, it's like you can't fall in love with players, bro. And the reason you can't is because every year, bro, like think about free agency today for the NFL, dog. Teams get better, bro. And if you don't upgrade your team, dog, like you actually worse when you don't upgrade the roster. And like the Pelicans main core, Z, Trey, Herb, or whoever else, bro, is like, okay, like, bro, y'all gotta shake it up. How much longer y'all gonna go with this? It's not working.
I think also one of the largest disadvantages the Pelicans have, and I've been saying this kind of since the Jackson Hayes days, is the reason why when Carlo comes off the bench or when Eve compared to Queen, not Eve in and of himself, but Eve compared to Queen, the game kind of shifts and it looks more exciting. It's because the Pelicans for years lack high level athletes. They just got these below the rim, can't really beat guys off the dribble, not especially skilled guys, and I think that's one of the reasons where you see them like they missing out on 50-50 balls.
Hey, bro, I saw Herb Jones do some shit yesterday, bro. Man, that man was acting like he was James Harden, dog. Man, I seen this man, bro. This man was in the paint taking hook shots. I'm talking about side step back threes. I'm like, bro. I'm like, and he was doing this with Z and Trey on the court. I'm like, fuck the coaching staff, man. Your teammates ain't telling you about this shit.
I
Like,
think
look,
that's
if you
another.
Trey, like, look, if Trey your brother, like, hey, dog, look, yeah, like, you looking bad out there doing that, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, your teammates ain't letting you know, like, dog, you looking bad out there doing that, dog. Like, play with, I ain't gonna say play within a system because it ain't no system, but like, dog, play within yourself.
It's kind of like what you were saying for a while with like the Dennis Allen tenure in football. I know these are two totally different sports, but with the Saints' first drive, like the opening drive is always the best drive for the Saints. It's scripted. You know exactly which how many what plays you're
Right.
running. Whereas with the Pelicans, since basketball is so up and down and sporadic, they really don't have a bread and butter set they run that's going to generate an open look most times. They don't even, soon as things are working, they tend to go away from it. Like last game, for example, I think it might have been the second quarter where Zion might have scored like 3-4 times in a row. He got like 6 free throws in a row, and I think he might have had like 3 buckets in a row. And I don't think he touched the ball again to the final shot of the half. Where
Yeah,
it
I
was
know what
that
you're talking about. They were like 5, 6 minutes. He didn't touch the ball. I'm
right.
like, bro, if this dude, look, I think last night the Pelicans shot 46 free throws, dog. If Z getting the calls, you're supposed to spam that shit, dog.
But and that's my thing where it's like look,
Especially if
bro.
you don't have no system, bro. You're supposed to spam that shit.
And that's my thing. Where it's like, look, man, at some point something has to give between the coach's ears or between the players' ears. But it has to be the coach because, like, I've just never seen high usage best players on the team do this. Like I've never seen Lowe's and getting the best player of the ball consistently, and that's been one of the issues I think with DeJounte. Also, since DeJounte came back, he trying to find his feel for the game. He trying to pick his spots or what have you. But I'm just like, this look kind of weird. Like this don't look right. It's too many ball dominant players on the team right now, and it's like y'all nobody really can get a quick shot up when it swung to him. Sadiq Bey maybe, but if you give it to Sadiq Bey in the post, Sadiq Bey dribbling maybe 15, 12 fucking times. Hope like and a lot of times with the Pelicans, it's like their offense is based on them just hoping to get a foul called. It's just hoping for them to get a foul call. It's 3 seconds left on the clock. They're gonna flail their arms and throw their heads back. And especially Derek, I ain't gonna lie, especially Derek. Derek is looking for the foul on every drive. Derek looking for the foul on every drive.
Let
So
me,
it's like I just don't understand the system at all personally. But go ahead,
not
Daryl.
my question. I guess I'll put it out there like this is like Z is. I think Z is an advantage creator, right? Like he's just like he can get downhill. Like you have to pack the paint to stop him at the paint. Like you say what you want about the shooting, but if you don't like make your defense, like form your defense to respect him at the paint, like he'll dominate in the paint. So he's a advantage creator, right? Like other than Z, who else is a true advantage creator? Like I was thinking about because I've been talking about possibly bringing in John. A lot of people like, bro, John ain't as great as he's been, and it's like, bro, we don't even need somebody to be top five all NBA level, but like Jai's still a really good player in this league. But like the speed, like other like that's at least with Fears, for example. Like the one thing with Fears is like, all right, he's faster than most people. Like other than that, like who else on this team you think can create an advantage over or like really just compromise the defense?
I think I have two answers to that question. First, it's just amazing to me how people don't recognize their situation because I don't understand turning up your nose at Jai, and it's like, bro, you're homeless. Like, if I offer you this McDonald's, you better take this motherfucking McDonald's. You telling me, oh, it's bad for my health. I'm trying to wash my figure. What are you talking about? You're homeless eating out of trash can. You should take whatever somebody giving you damn near. With job, I don't understand the audacity to turn your nose up at a multi-time All-Star when you ain't done shit. I'm talking about, especially at a position of need, under a reasonable contract. It's just like, come on, man, be for real. But at the same time, I think to a certain when Trey is on, he's an advanced creator. When he's on, when he's off, well, sometimes he's a little bit indecisive with the ball as well. He gets a little, I don't want to say trigger happy, but sometimes he doesn't pick his spots well as well. Like last night, for example, Trey had hit like 3 buckets in a row. He has an opportunity to drive to the rim. He got a clear lane. He stops on the dime, step back, and shoots a midi. He misses. They go down on the other end. Trey Young, I believe, gets fouled beyond the arc. He misses one of the free throws, so it's a 4 point swing. But I'm like, Trey, you had a clear lane to the rim. Go yam on that motherfucker. They don't got no shot blocker on the floor right now. You just scored 3, 4 times in a row. So, you got to pick your spots a little bit better. But aside from them two, nobody.
Man, you
None.
gotta go get you some more guys, bro, that like play with like grit and grind, dog. Like we don't have enough players, man. It's like first off, bro, like other than Zia Sadiq, man, you really don't have like any physical athletes on the team. And you got like all these teams, bro, like the Rockets, the Spurs, OKC, the Clippers, and anytime, and I think really that's the reason anytime we play against good teams that we can't compete is because first off, bro, these teams have built these GMs have built like the rosters with a lot of like athleticism and size, bro. And like if you can't match that, you're not gonna compete. So that's why every time we play them, bro, it's like we just outmatched. It's like yeah, we really outmatched.
And that's why, I kind of harp on the strength and conditioning program with the Pelicans because I'm like, man, ain't no way in the world you supposed to have all these dudes that's the same size as their rookie year, like Hawkins, Hurd, Trey to a lesser extent. Like even Carlo's game isn't based on strength necessarily, but he ain't got like no definition in his arms or nothing like that. And when you look at like Eve is noticeably bigger. You know what I'm saying? You already know Zion and lost weight, but some of
Say
the
now, look,
guys,
I remember we played against the Pistons. Man, Jalen Durant had about 23 points, 20 rebounds. Man, that man embarrassed us, dog.
yeah, bro, it's like them dudes built like
Man,
grown
he
men,
looked like a grown man, bro. Whoever we had guarding that man, he was like, man, I ain't even worried about y'all.
bro. It's
But,
just go ahead, L.
but
Let me pass it to
just
Ivy.
not you. Just quick point. That's why you see DeAndre Jordan at 37, however fucking old he is, look like he could play because he's been around. He's just got some size and athleticism beyond what this team possesses. So like that part is frustrating. Also, I was thinking about this the other day, bro. When you go back and listen to like Willie Green was not great, but Willie Green wasn't wrong about a lot of stuff that
I
like
agree.
that like he
I agree
was
with that.
saying. Then like it was like and he was so bad to where it was like, bruh, some of this is on you. And I done multiple episodes holding Willie Green accountable. But when I watch them now that he's separated from from the situation, and you really take a deep dive and look at what's going on in for example, I used to criticize Willie for when a player get like iced out of the offense. I'm like, bro, you got to draw something up to get these motherfuckers going and stuff like that. And Willie used to always say, like, bro, you can't let them stop you. Like, you gotta go do it for you. And then I'm watching this season. I'm like, bro, these dudes don't have no determination. Like, if somebody decides to take any of them out the game, like they just let people take them out the game. They let people hold them. They're not like overly aggressive. They don't run their offense with any like even whatever offense you're trying to run, they walking through sets, bro. It's just it's when and then when he come back, he be like, bro, this team soft. I'm like, you know what?
You know,
I see it.
I think too, and I'll pass it to Ivy here. I think too, it's one of those things where it's like, is this fruit of a poisonous tree? Because Willie, you've been the coach for about 5 years. Like you've been the one teaching us everything we know. We like we're an extension of you, coach. You
Bro,
wasn't out here throwing no chairs neither. Then go
last
ahead, go
hold
ahead.
on to your point though. That's probably why Willie probably like these dudes so soft. That's why Najee was playing. That's probably why Jose was playing. Like that's probably why he was playing all of these dudes. He like these motherfuckers soft.
You gotta have guys that make up for what the coach lacks, or to help, or like the coach makes up for what the players lack. That's why Idoka makes up for like because people thought the Celtics were soft. They're like the Celtics getting to the playoffs. Them dudes not ready for what comes with the postseason. Them dudes young, and they gonna get ran out the gym for more physical experienced teams. Then Udoka bring them to the finals. Then what up with your lot? Then you got a psychopath like Joe. He bringing them to the finals. So you gotta have somebody who got that can at least instill that dog factor mentally into the players if the players lack it themselves. Ivy, what's your take on the starting unit, bro? And the trade must as the Pelicans approach the end of the season. Trade must as in what they need to acquire via trade.
Man, well, y'all already know my approach, man. It ain't the popular, it ain't the sexy approach. It's the most painful path, but I do believe it's gonna yield the best results. And man, you just gotta nuke this team, bro. Like you got to start all over, like from the studs, and like just get it over with and start it now, bro. Because you just kicking that can down the road. You're gonna have to do it eventually, man. But I know, from why they say Gail wouldn't do it. Losing out on corporate sponsorships and all that stuff, man. I get it, but like, man, you gonna end up alienating and losing the fan base. You gonna lose one of the two, and you might even lose both. But so I think they should just absolutely nuke this team and start anew, man. But in regards to what you said about the poisonous tree and the fruit falling from the tree and whatever, I again, bro, I cannot. I'm not a type of person that could critique the coach to that degree, man, because I still think you shouldn't draft those type of guys. Period. Like, there's not
Oh,
a
Ivy,
situation.
I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to ask you that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No, you good.
you make an excellent point
Mm-hmm.
because when I view the front office and you know how the front office's approach was all this love and weird zesty shit, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it seemed to coincide with Willie Green's mental approach as well. Because when you have,
Okay.
because you know, far as like how you got Swin with the UConn connection, maybe that's why you take in Jordan Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
You got Teaspoon with the
Mm-hmm.
Alabama connection, maybe or with the Kyra Lewis connection rather. Maybe that's why you draft Kyra Lewis. And the people on the
Mm-hmm.
team who always seem a little crazy or a little like for Stan Van Gundy or Jackson Hayes, the people that just seemed a little like crazy, even Zion, that's the people the front office never really got along with. It's like these motherfuckers are renegades. They uncontrollable. But go ahead, my bad.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. But I don't. Can you give me another example of a player with Jordan Hawkins dimensions that is getting serious run in the NBA right now?
as
No,
far
no, for real.
no, as far as height and weight,
Stature, like
ugh.
who does
uh
that?
None,
yeah,
none.
Exactly.
especially with a history of back injuries.
And not with
So
like if you're gonna be that small, you got to be Keontae George and
Yeah,
have
you
like
gotta
an
have some weight.
extreme handle or
right.
something like that.
And so you got one player with almost a similar body type, but game is totally different what this has worked in the NBA. Like, so again, man, you can't draft weak, small people, and I don't care what kind of strength and conditioning program you got. You just not gonna make that better, bro. You just avoid drafting them type of small, skinny, frail type players and draft some, bigger, more athletic, taller, longer, phenoms instead. Like, just I think it all stems back to like the front office, bro. I don't care what coach you got, they're not gonna be able to sprinkle no magic dust on you and make you bigger, stronger, and more athletic.
I totally agree. And again, I remember when me and Chris had called in the show post draft where they drafted Jordan Hawkins because I was like, well, fuck, if he can't shoot, what he ever gonna be able to do? Because he's a very
You can do nothing else.
he's a very skinny guy. And if you look at his numbers, he never really even shot well either. So he shot like respectable. Like, I'm talking about in his college career. He wasn't like this dead eye shooter, 44% or no crazy shit like that. He was all right, he was solid. But
I
it
re- I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
From a physical standpoint, what do you think of Fizz and his, physicality style of play? Because he's more of, I guess he's a smaller player, but he does have the speed. He does like the handle is above average. You know what I mean?
Pretty
That's supposed to
strong
be
too.
something. Yeah,
As
and
far as
he
plate separation.
plays strong. What do you think of his his physical like abilities in translating to the league and stuff like that and projecting moving forward?
I think Fears ultimately will be a good regular season player. I don't see like his archetype of player being really successful in the postseason. But due to his speed, I think he is an advantage creator. And I remember hearing Chaz talk about Trey. I don't consider Trey a advantage creator. Like, you either have to have speed or power. And Trey really doesn't have, even when he's playing well and scoring, like he doesn't really create an advantage. Now, he might hit some tough buckets over people, some step back threes and things of that nature, but that's not really
Oh,
creating an
well,
advantage to
my
that
bad.
degree.
My bad. Let my bad. I want to clarify that. Like when I was saying, like when he's on, as far as his gravity on the court, as far as this his shooting creates a spacing advantage. Not necessarily him getting downhill or overpowering anybody. I think he's a really good athlete, but when you're athletic minus the strength, it kind of offsets one another, right? So I think just from a shooting standpoint, when he's like on fire, he can be an advanced creator. But I'll say on a night to night basis, nah, I would totally agree with you as well.
Okay, yeah. So, but back to Fears, man. Again, I think his ability to get 2 feet in the paint, with regularity, without having like a real killer jump shot is impressive. And I think over time, as he continues to become a better jump shooter, I think he'll put more pressure on the defense because they have to guard him a little bit further away from the basket. The pick and roll coverage is going to have to be a little bit different. And he's going to be able to put pressure on the defense in that way. But again, I'm really eager to see in another couple years if should they make the playoffs, how will he be able to hold up against bigger, stronger guys that's gonna probably try and take advantage of him defensively. Will he be played off of the court? Will that jump shot come around? So it's a lot of variables with these rookies that, leave a lot in limbo.
That's
How,
a
how,
go ahead, Chaz.
I just want to ask Ivy a question about what do you make of DeJounte's return so far, and do you think some of the limitations we've seen for as his first step and ability to get to the cup at will, do you think that's a byproduct of the injury, or do you think this is just kind of who DeJounte is?
Man, DeJounte, man, it quiet as kept, man. If you go back from the time he left San Antonio, I mean, he had a decent year the first year in Atlanta, but if you look at his numbers, he has his numbers have declined every year since that first year in Atlanta. So I think we getting a picture of like and that's why I wasn't a fan of them even trading for him in the beginning, because he had already showed signs of like regression. And I think this is just and now you couple it with the injury. I think, man, you just in a bad spot with DeJounte as a aging player, getting older, losing some more athleticism, slowing down. Not he's not the defensive presence because DeJounte when he first came in the league, man, he was a defensive ace. Like, and he kind of became a two-way player. But he was really known for getting steals in the passing lane, really being a tall, long, 6'5" point guard that really wreaked havoc. And now he's really not even that potent on the defensive end of the ball. So I hope he plays himself into some value where he can fetch some type of draft compensation or something where they can get something back in return for him, man.
Hey, quick question, fellas. What would be an acceptable trade, like offer for Dejounte? Like one first, like in like a good play. I mean, I wouldn't even know. I would say
I,
a good
I,
player back to take a
First.
stab. Like, what's respectable?
I think, in my opinion, and I think we all can answer this, right? Me, Ivy, and L can speak on this. I think I would be keeping my eyes on Houston personally. I think if Houston continues to go the way they're going, there's some relationships there for us with Clutch. You got Fred Van Fleet coming up for ACL. You got, if you believe what KD said in his burner, if that's KD, I don't want to throw no, you know what I'm saying? I ain't doing no telling. I think Jabari, they might have to do something with Jabari at some point. And if the Rockets want to invest into Kevin Durant moving forward, because they didn't give up a lot to get Kevin Durant. So they might be like, this shit ain't work. We tried. We ain't gonna take on any more bad money just to, make this work. But I do think Houston would be a team that would have some interest. I wouldn't even say Memphis. I would even say Memphis might have some interest.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
what I was
think,
gonna say. Do you
yeah,
think I'm sorry to cut you off? You think that
you
John
good,
Morant
brother.
trade is still on the table?
Yeah, I think, especially if Ja don't finish the season, I absolutely think
Oh,
it's
that
still
man
on
ain't
the table.
playing the rest of this season. They ruled him out for another 2. They say he'd be reevaluated another
Oh
2
yeah,
weeks.
yeah. That stock only going down.
If it's me, I'm targeting Ja. I'm targeting uh I'm targeting the difference. Well, I'll say this. If you're not blowing up the team, which I just can't imagine them blowing up this team, um, especially the way like they'd have to lose for them to like blow up the team. I think they'd have to lose out like the rest of the way. Because if not, I think they kind of have their minds made up that they keeping the roster relatively together for the most
That's
part.
the problem, bro. That's
I
the
hear you.
problem.
We on the same page. We on the same page. I think unless, and that's kind of where I'm at. So if you're not doing that, you gotta go get you gotta get a job. I think you gotta go get a John Morant level player, a
And
Sabonis level
and your
player,
coach.
something like that.
And you got to go get your coach.
Yes,
But
at least
I
now. I'll say this. I'll say this. If if they start the season off next season, Like if they find their coach, start the season off, and then midway through decide to blow it up, I'm cool with that too. Like if they just try to figure something out in the off season or whatever, as opposed to just blowing it up now. Like let's say you're trying to get back into the draft, but you can't get no real draft picks, no draft value or nothing like that. Because I know how IC feel about this draft. Then okay, start the season off, go get your guy, see what they look like, and then by the deadline, that's kind of what I think this team got anyway. Because Poole gonna be on an expiring. You'll be able to move that. DeJounte will be at that. I got 2 years left, so it'll leave a team getting ready to decide. You're likely not gonna re-sign Zion. So I think this team, realistically, if you don't blow it up in the offseason, you have until next trade deadline at best anyway.
And that's why I think it's so tricky because I think DeJounte's market is so like it's so narrow. Like I get the Houston fit. Like I could see a potential situation where a swap for Fred VanVleet or something like that will work. But I do not see the Memphis situation being a viable option just because man, they got some real incredible guards coming out in the draft this year. And Memphis should be picking high. And if you telling me the Memphis Grizzlies could end up with a Darius Acuff or Kingston Fleming or Mikael Brown, I would not
You don't
have
think
the
they
jump.
you don't think they go the route of big? I say that just because they got rid of Jaron.
Yeah, but they still got Zach Edey. They still got Aldama. You know, they still have, valuable bigs. But I mean, this class coming with bigs isn't as impressive as the guards and the forwards that they have coming out. And I think they would absolutely probably capitalize on one of those superstar perimeter players, potential superstar perimeter players, as opposed to a role playing big.
Let me ask this. Let ask everybody this. Do y'all think, because I'm just mentioning Ja in general, do y'all think that to get off the contract, right? If let's say they do take one of those players, they would take a player like a Pool in the deal that's gonna be what I think 34 million
Yeah,
expiring
34
next year,
million
something like
expiring.
that. Like you take 34 and couple him with like Looney's 8 expiring next year or whatever it is, and they just wipe all of that off the books. You think they'd be willing to do a deal like that? Or are they looking to get more or something like that? What would be y'all opinions on that?
I think it's so interesting with Memphis because Memphis has so many picks now at this point to where they're in a great position because they're in a position now where they can tank, get a good pick, and they don't necessarily have to tank again in the short term if they don't want to because they got other teams' picks. So they're gonna get to a point where they actually need to consolidate. They could just package a couple picks to move up if they wanted to. But like I already said, they got some talent on that roster. You got Gigi, you got Ty Jerome. You got Scottie Pippen Jr., Edie, Saldana. They hit a home run with Colin Coward. You know what I'm saying? They got some quality players on that roster. So I can see them just look, and they got a coach who I think pretty solid. To be honest, they could look at it and say, all right, look, let's say we end up getting lucky. We land Boozer. We end up getting Boozer, right? I don't think we necessarily gotta tear it all the way down. We got other teams picks. We could just supplement the roster, and we're gonna build the grit and grind Grizzlies. We're gonna build a team that's built on culture and built on our depth because they try the superstar approach. They still near the bottom of the league in attendance, even with the superstar approach, and that's coming off some playoff victories. So I don't think they can survive being bad for an extended period of time because what came out with the owner and all that shit, him wanting to move the team and the Ukraine connections and shit. That shit was kind of crazy, honestly. But with all that came out with them, I think they could look at Jordan Poole shit like, what, 30 million expiring? All right, would you take KCP back? All right, whatever, cool, whatever. Let's just do it. We gonna clear the books. We gonna sign a bunch of Sadiq Bey type players. We gonna overpay them. Maybe we'll package them and be able to trade them for even more picks if they succeed. It's just I think they're gonna have to consolidate at some point.
I kind of share a contrary sentiment due to the fact, man, once you start, yeah, it would be good to get Jordan Poole off of the books, but when you get guys off the books and clear up cap space, it's usually for free agency. Like, and we know players just not coming here in free agents where you got to pay, players to get here. So the lifeblood of this organization has to be through the draft. It has to be through smart trades. And I just don't think that due to the Pelican situation, and their lack of assets and valuable assets, that they're going to be able to trade for guys in the interim to really help bolster this roster. So kind of stuck in a real difficult place. Um,
All roads lead back to blow
yeah,
it up for you. All roads lead to
facts
So
blow it up.
how would
always.
y'all like? Because I get Ivy's point totally. But Elvin, I want to ask y'all, and Mike, you can speak on this as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat also, man. So how would do you think they go a similar route to where they went this off season? Because I 100% agree with the Pelicans. You only gonna get better by trading for players or drafting guys, right? Look like you might have hit a home run with Jeremiah Fez. Sadiq Bey looks like a home run trade, at least in the short term. The Jordan Poole thing hasn't worked out thus far. Do you think they look at it like similar to CJ, like all right, well CJ ain't expiring, it ain't really work out. Let's trade him and take on another distressed contract and see what happens with that. Maybe we can replenish or refurbish that player, and we just keep playing this this until we actually get somebody worth. Well, now I don't say worth the damn, but we get a contract that we actually did refurbish, i.e., as a bonus.
Uh, so I think, and this probably be one of my last comments, but I think they go into, because I really believe that this season was, I don't give a fuck what happened. It's just an evaluation season. We're gonna evaluate Willie, we're gonna evaluate Borrego, we're gonna evaluate the talent y'all say that we can't get rid of. We're gonna evaluate the health staff. Like I think this was a true evaluation for everybody, right? I think they go into the offseason and try to make the team a little more like one of their teams, knowing what they have. So I just think they'll remove the coach. They'll get their coach in place. I think they'll be more aggressive because Chaz, you've pointed to this a bunch of times. Joe is not a young dude. Bro, rebuilds take a really long time. Rebuilds are like 5 to 10 years sometimes. You know what I mean? For you to get those right. And then if you look at the teams that he has success with, he might have hit on one or two. Like he hit on the Tayshaun Prince draft pick, but he didn't hit on. I'm saying when they were like consistently winning, Joe wasn't hitting on like many draft picks. Like a lot of those dudes were dudes you brought in from somewhere
Yeah,
else.
he was really just taking on the stress assets like Rip and Chauncey and Rasheed. Yep.
And exactly. So I think that's gonna be the route that he goes. I think he's gonna look at Ja and was like, a lot of people don't want to make no trade for a player like Ja. Like look at Ja like his Rasheed Wallace, right? I think he'll look at something like that, similar to how you felt about Zion. You ain't gotta be a quiet boy, you just gotta show up for work. I think he's gonna go into this offseason and look to be more aggressive with acquiring distressed assets and try to remake the team that way, get their coach and see what they look like from that perspective. And then I think that's just kind of going to be the way that they try to shape this roster in the offseason. So I think you'll see them look to be more aggressive via trade acquiring talent.
See, man, it always goes back to the front office for me, man. Because the fact that you said that this was an evaluation year, it automatically lets me know that there's some like level of incompetence there. They didn't hire you. They didn't fire David Griffin and bring you in because because he just took another job and he wanted to do something else. Like he didn't die, he didn't get a better position somewhere else. This team was bad and it been bad. And the fact that you needed a year to reconfirm that it's bad just shows me your assessment level is not where it needs to be. So again, man, again, it goes to the front office to me, man. I don't really trust the front office to get the job done, and not nowhere near soon. I hate to have the doom and gloom conversation again, but hey, man, I haven't been wrong yet.
That's a great point. because Joe said that, and the reason I say that this is an evaluation because that's what Joe said.
He
Joe,
said the foundation strong.
yeah, well, in the opening press conference, for example, they was asking him about like the Z injuries and stuff. He was like, I don't know none of the people of the medical staff. Like they was asking about the coach. I don't know none of the coaches. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes of this place. So I need to come in, talk to everybody. Like that was like the whole press run in the very beginning was I need to come in and figure out what's going on for myself. So it's it's uh like I see why you say as far as the incompetence level, I get that. But I'm just saying like my point on like this year was an assessment year. I think he really just came in and was like, this is what we trying to do. I need to assess Z. What do Trey actually look like? Like, is this something that I could work with?
from
Go ahead, Chaz.
from behind the scenes, like I do agree with Ivy on like the face of it. Like, damn, y'all ain't been watching these motherfuckers. But I think coming into this organization, kind of having their hands tied to a certain degree with ownership, like because some of the trade ideas I heard about behind the scenes, you you would be surprised at who names was in some of these motherfuckers. But kind of having your hands tied a bit with ownership, the Willie Green situation, the carryover from that, and I can absolutely say that Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars coming onto this organization, they didn't trust nobody in the building. I'm talking about everything straight up to the vest. If they ain't hire you, they was not fucking with you. Like, and that did them a bit of a disservice, like far as from a media standpoint. But generally, they just it's the reason it ain't just nepotism for us them hiring their kids. It's like we don't know y'all, we don't trust y'all. We don't, especially, and I'm sure that backlash from the Queen trade didn't help at all either, because everybody fucked up, was upset about that. I think I just think overall it's going to be interesting. I do believe they're going to be aggressive. Hopefully they're not aggressive in the wrong direction, i.e. the Bucks trade. And one asset that could be interesting is if the shit with Giannis, because we're going to have to start having a conversation about Giannis and this fake ass humility shit, because this shit is getting on my nerves. Like, I ain't gonna lie, Giannis, the Giannis shit is phony. The man playing games, either go on about your business or stay with the team. If that ultimately ends up happening this offseason and you get that 27 pick, which could potentially turn into two picks, then you got some serious fire and power, potentially. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I do believe they'll be extremely aggressive. But it's getting on like a little over an hour. Ivy, Mike, Alvin, y'all got some final thoughts and words, and tell the people where they can find y'all at, man.
I was just gonna say, man, regarding last words before I let you close it out. Um, what I think they're gonna do, man, I think Troy Weaver's really gonna try to go after like like a true starting center. Now
I
to
would
be
love it.
honest, man, I watch a lot of these games, and if the Pelicans had like a true starting center, man, a lot of these games, bro, I ain't gonna say win, but they definitely be in a much better situation if they had a true starting center.
Would you say do it have to be like a star, or do it just have to be like I'm a
Man,
bona
I'm
fide
basically like
starter?
somebody that's really like doesn't need the ball. That's just like on a set screen, rebounds well, and is actually a good defender.
Jared
Mm.
Allen will make a world of difference for this team. I hate
Man,
to
You
say it. I hate
get
I
ready.
hate
They're
to
gonna
put
get
it that
Jared
way.
Allen. He gonna be like 37 years old, 2 years from
uh,
retirement.
you
But
you know who I think will make a world of difference too, Al? The
yo,
starting center in Boston right now, and this is just a straight up dirt work dude.
Look, that's
Like
the
he,
that's the, that's the type of
oh
players the Pelicans need, though. That's what I was saying earlier.
mm,
They don't have those type of guys. They need those type of guys.
or when
yeah.
they get them, it's like when the Pelicans get them, motherfuckers feel like they hit the lottery and they just take the year off. Like I don't know what it is, bro.
Well, I think it's expectations and again, I think your coaching staff and all of that matters. I don't think there's just no plan, no design. Like you don't know what the fuck you getting
And
into
this
when
how
you
I know
coming
it's the
over here.
coaching staff. Man, I remember when Brandon Ingram said it was the coaching staff. DeJounte Murray, when he first got to the Pelicans, remember he was like the game plan was trash, everything was trash. Then Poole, now he beefing with the coaching staff. I know these dudes horrible behind the scenes, man. These coaches.
Bruh, think about it like this, and this again, this is truly my last thing, and this to go with the coaching
Mm-hmm.
staff and like the plan for players when you bring them in. They brought in. Jordan Poole and told Jordan Poole, "Hey, bro, you're gonna be the starting either one or two guard for this team until Dejounte came back." And by game four, bro, game four, this man was on the bench and pretty much out of the rotation. Like, regardless of however you felt he was playing at the time of the injury or whatever the situation is, they had went into a full off season with this particular plan and punted on it by game four. Like,
Mm.
you can't, for me personally, I can't trust that coaching staff, and you see it from game to game when you don't start a center, when you won't bench Herb, when you see Bryce play then don't play, you see Carlo play don't play. Like, I think those are the kinds of things where, like, you lose the trust from the players. And like, they say that, hey, Zion, them, they really like this coaching staff and they believe in them and stuff. They don't believe in these fucking dudes. Like, they don't
Yeah.
play like they believe in these dudes, in my opinion. Like, you could tell the way they run the offense. The offense, watch them in the first quarters of games, bro. They don't run the offense with no intensity. They don't play with no fire. And then, like, as an athlete, when you start getting your ass kicked, did like the I hate to lose kicking, and then they pick it up a little bit. But you could tell from the beginning of the games, bro. I don't think they believe in the coaching
Yeah.
staff at all.
Talking to someone in Pools camp, and we'll end on this though. 2 points. Talking to someone in Pools camp at length. I must have talked to him for like fucking damn it 3 hours though. Good people. They were just like one of Pools' biggest issues with the current coaching staff is that he feels like they don't have a vision or a plan. He was like they kind of just go with the flow and whatever happens happens. He was like Poole said. Well, alleged. This is alleged. This is alleged. He said Poole said like, damn, even coming from Washington, at least they had like a vision and a plan for it. But when I get here, it's like everything is a bit of a toss up. And you know, Jerome, Mike pointed out a good point, man, when he was speaking about some of the criticism that fell upon Willie Green and how the current coaching staff almost escapes criticism. I'll say this: when I made that Willie Green clip with Brandon talking about Willie, with Dejounte talking about Willie, with Zion talking about Willie, or alluding to Willie rather, motherfuckers wanted to be like Puff Daddy. Everybody was like P Diddy. Motherfuckers want to be all in the videos, all on the records, dancing. But when you talk about James Borrego, everybody want to be like Suge Knight. They don't want to be all in the videos. They don't want to be all on the records dancing. It's real quiet as kept around this bitch. But we're going to end it on that note. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody that joined, the speakers, man. Shout out to my dog Ivy. We're going to rap homie. And y'all get ready to welcome Coach Mosley because it's probably going to happen. Shout out to Mike again. And Coach Mosley, Coach Mosley about to be in the building. You heard me?
That's another episode. We got to do that one next
Yeah,
episode,
that's
man.
the next episode. We're gonna have to do a Coach Mosley evaluation.
Yeah,
But
bro. Appreciate
y'all be
y'all.
much love to everybody, man. Y'all be safe. And I'm gonna upload this on YouTube if you missed the beginning of it. So I'm out, y'all. Peace.